Okay, go.
Okay, so this time we're going to do a hot ketchup. I've had a little taste of it, and to be fair, it is a little bit hotter. So I did a video earlier on, which you can find also where I did the mild. Now we're going to do the hot. So earlier on, if you watched our earlier video, what we did is we took a little volume of the sample like this. So I can sort of approximate, I've got a volume there. I'm now going to, I have to convert this quite thick, let's say, ketchup into something a bit thinner. So you'll see what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and put 4 drops next to this one of a similar volume to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, and what I'm going to now do is I'm going to take those 4 and add them. I'll do a bit better job than that. Right, now what I'm going to do is mix them up. So I'll just put the top back on this. Now, I'm doing a lot of talking in the meantime, but it's actually quite easy to prepare this. Most of the time when you're trying to do, people would suggest with other procedures, it's like refluxing ethanol, it's using analytical equipment, it's an expensive process. Whereas with this, it's minimum amount of sample, minimum amount of buffer, minimum amount of preparation time. I'm going to now just bring the sample in and out of the pipette a few times just to. The process we're doing is called homogenizing. We're trying to make it all fairly homogeneous. And my colleague who's with me is also a chemist, so I know he's looking at that thinking that's not homogeneous enough yet. I can read his mind. So I'm just going to give it a. You can see I'm also introducing a few air bubbles there, and I'll try and. I don't want to really get air bubbles onto it, but don't worry too much about it. Right, so what I'll do now is I'll take that sample, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it onto a sensor over here. This is the chili pot, by the way. So what we're going to do is, sorry if there's any reflection on the screen, we're going to run a measurement. We'll tell it's a source. We tell it that we've got a volume of 1 to 4. We're going to start the measurement. And now what it does, it has a sort of progression bar. So in the back, it's running a measurement at the moment. So in the background, it's running a test. I know I've said this in other videos, but it's measuring a molecule called capsaicin. You could sometimes try and detect this molecule by taste, but it really doesn't leave you with a objective result. It leaves you with a sort of subjective result. So if you're trying to do consistent batch manufacturing, it's really not going to work, especially if you're in the kind of quality control food processing technology. This will give you a real number. You've got better traceability, and you can sort of prove to your customers that you're making a consistent product. So it's come back at a result of about 724. So it's only coming back as slightly hotter than the actual mild source. And this is something that we often notice, that you perceive something as being hotter, or maybe some things are advertised as, being different. But the question is, really, how different are they? And this result would actually suggest that this mild and this hot are not so different from one another. And what we'll do in another test now is take something that is considered hotter, and we're going to test that. Okay, thanks very much.